We are always on country. Country is a place of teaching, learning, research and scholarship. We acknowledge elders and ancestors of country where Flinders University campuses are located. And today we are meeting on Kaurna Yatha, Kaurna People's Country, and where Flinders University's first campus was established. The Sturt campus, here at Bedford Park, where we primarily study and work, is located at the foot of Nganu, Kaurna ancestor, which is near Warraparinga. So we're actually at the foot of Nganu here, right now. Warraparinga is a significant site in the complex and multi-layered dreaming of Kaurna ancestor Trabuki. Trabuki is a keeper of the fire and a peace and lawmaker. Trabuki's spirit lives in the land and waters and in Kaurna people, and in the glossy ibis known as Trabuki for Kaurna. Finally, we acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in this session, and that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's sovereignty was never ceded. It has existed since the first sunrise and will be here until the last sunset. Come in, colleagues and scholars. We were just saying, hello. We were just saying how lovely this room is because we're up in the trees. It's quite lofty. And I've just finished making an acknowledgement of country. Working out your relationship to country is an extremely important thing to do in the Australian context, and you can do that as a scholar in different ways, and some of us will talk to you about that a little bit further on. Okay, so I am the first year transition coordinator. Actually, I'm just acting in this role. But aren't we all acting? Apart from when we go home and we take, all the world's a stage. And Jane Harford here is the course coordinator. Jane's been in this role for some time, and Jane is our sage. So all of the colleagues here, we go to Jane. And Jane solves so many of our small and large woes, and that might be the same for you. So Jane and I work together in the transition space, but Jane sees the whole life cycle of you as a student, as an undergraduate student. Okay. All right. Have you encountered barriers to getting your essentials sorted? We should cover this in the session, but if we don't, put your hand up and we'll work that out together, yeah? That's one. Ask questions. Oh, you can put your hand up and then I'll ask, what would you like to know? This is something for us to think about. What are our degree goals? What do we want from this experience? So we want to hear from you about, have you enrolled in your topics? Why did you choose this area of study? How does the degree reflect your current and future goals? What is something you hope to achieve during your degree? How will your choice of 3 option topics in first year support your goals? That's still relevant, isn't it, Jane? Yep. On that point, do you need to reconsider the option topics you're enrolled in to support your goals? We're going to get you to think about this at the tables that you're at, and I might ask that a couple of the colleagues come and sit at the different tables to talk about these things. And then if we've got time, we'll have a little bit share back from the tables. How does that sound, Jane? Good? Yep. Sound all right? Yeah. So you guys, look at you being comfy at your table. Do you mind coming over to these other tables? So have you enrolled in your topics for semester 2? Great. Why did you choose the areas that you've chosen? What do you want to do?
I worked in the aged care reform itself, and I also did event management. So this is where I'm going to a broader stream. So I'm going to do a bit of physiotherapy, nutrition, just to get a hang of it and see where I want to live.
Awesome. Yep, it's like a taster. Yeah. What about yourself, Scholar? We actually have a paediatric occupational therapist on staff, Chiripa Ritchie, who you might meet in 1012, which is one of our topics. But maybe also if you want to, we can put you in contact with them as well. So you've got a really specific goal.
Very specific.
Okay. What about you, Scholar? No, snap! Did you know that about each other before? Wow. Okay. So we've got one scholar who wants to try a broad range of things and two scholars who know exactly what you want to do. Okay, that's good. I've never felt that strongly before, so it's really nice. Sorry, Scholar. I was seeing you as a colleague for a minute there because you walked in with the colleagues. Yeah, sorry, Scholar. What's your goal? Okay, awesome, great. Well, we all teach physio, don't we, in our topics, physio students, as well as health sciences students, yeah. Okay, so we've already talked about how does the degree reflect your current and future goals, because you can use it to go into other spaces and try out different things, which is excellent. What is something you hope to achieve? Have you got a sense of what that means? What do you want to achieve? Like, what do you want to get good at in the health sciences degree? Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So you are coming to study with thinking about studying for a really long time, and now you've taken a leap of faith in yourself, which is excellent. Sometimes it's just about the timing, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I did the same thing. I didn't start my undergraduate when I was 30. So, yeah. Ha. Scholars, what else do you hope to achieve during your degree? Anything? Wow, you've got lots of goals.
But yeah, just filling in the fundamental skills of knowing where I want to go. Like I have to write areas I want to go into, but being able to build that and talk to my lecturers over the course of my physio degree in health sciences. And then being able to explore those sectors of physio.
Yeah, excellent. Well, even if you don't go on to be a researcher, which lots of people here love research, but if you don't, you'll be an evidence-based practitioner, which means that research will always be informing your practice. So that's one thing that we really, yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, so evidence should always be informing our practice. So to be able to be an evidence-based practitioner, we need to know, why am I choosing this form of research and not that? And do I favour one form of research over another? And where are those biases coming from? So whether or not you choose that path of being a researcher or whether you continue to be a practitioner, research will, you could, yeah. You could have all those plates in the air spinning, or you could find that there's one stage in your life where you're practicing more and then one stage in your life where you might be doing more research depending on how your life flows. And I think everyone here can talk about those shifts, those changes. Yeah. Anyone else?
I think I want to broaden my understanding with aging because I have the foundation of it, but then it's good to understand a bit more deeply with aging. And I also want to change my family's nutrition. So
Okay. You're really interested in nutrition, Scholar. I hear that. You've said that a couple of times. So as part of health sciences, we do ageist topics. And those have been developed by gerontologists. And gerontologists look at the whole life, not just aging, but ages. so across the ages. So you might be interested in some of those topics as well. And I think there is one ages topic that looks at, I can't remember, but I think there's something about nutrition. We'll have to look at that. Jane knows everything. She really is the sage. We always like, if I don't know it, Jane will know it. But that's wonderful to hear that that's a goal. So there's the personal about your family, but there's also about thinking about ageing and what it means to be working with people who are getting older. We're always getting older, but yeah. But interestingly, paediatrics and ageing aren't that separate from each other, because it's the way we think about ageing that's really interesting. Yeah, because all of these things inform the latter part of our lives, but also coming from a sociological perspective, which is me, age is a construct. So that yeah, but we won't go there today. Scholar, what about yourself? What are you hoping to achieve?
I just really want to find, I'm really passionate about like occupational therapy.
Yep.
I want to just learn really, I just finished my diploma in early childhood education.
Yay.
So
I'm going to high five you because that's where I come from. High 10. Ah. Sorry, Jane. Have you got FOMO? We've just got some early childhood educators in the room. Yeah. Okay, we can high 10 Jane later. So you know that you're interested in that paediatric occupational therapy role because you've seen its effect in families with children. Yeah, great.
and my younger brother has cerebral palsy, so we grew up with OTs in our family.
Yeah.
He's 17 now. We've been with him since 6 months.
Yeah,
See how much of an impact that they've made and
Yeah.
how to give that back to other children and families.
lived experience is significant to any of our life choices. So it's lovely that you can see and hear that, you know that about yourself. But I feel the same way that I come from early childhood education. Seeing occupational therapists work with young people and their families is very powerful. And if I had my way, if I was like a minister for education, which I'm not, I would like to see OTs in every early childhood education setting because they make such a huge difference. Okay, that's very cool. So have you thought about option topics? Are you primarily looking at the core topics? Core topics, yeah. Scholar, what about you?
Aging,
Excellent.
physiotherapy, other stuff.
Yep, fantastic. Okay, good. Well, you can do your core topics and then get a sense of what your option topics might be. And that might be about doing your core topic, Scholar, and realising it is a bit scary, but not as scary as you thought. In fact, it's normal and good to feel a little bit scared because you're being pushed into the spaces that you need to get pushed into. So know that you're not the only person feeling scared. In fact, everyone is feeling scared. That's really normal. Okay, is there anything else that we wanted to talk about? Anything that we wanted to bring up in this small group? No? All right. We might see how these fellas are going and then see if we can report back. I'm just going to tap on Jane's shoulder. Do you think you're ready to come back?
I'm ready to come back.
Okay, we're ready to come back. Okay, sorry. Is there anything we wanted to share before we move on to the next slide? No? All good. Excellent. Okay. Thank you for participating in that excellent chat. I had a great time with you guys here at this table. All right. Come on, slide. This is normally when Sarah pops in and helps me because I'm not actually a high-functioning OT person. IT person, not OT. Oh, is that us? Yes, that's us. Okay. All right. So this is us being like All right, we've been here before. We've got a sense of what you should do. Listen to us on this idea. Having a study plan. A study plan is a really great way of bringing some discipline into your life in relation to studies. So it can involve the following. Mapping your study schedule. So what topics will you do and when? So across the degree. Core topics are offered in both semesters. Some topics may only be offered in one semester or outside of normal semester time. So some of those AGES topics, AGES something something code, they're often starting at a little bit different times. So who's doing some of the AGES topics this semester? Most people are doing core topics this semester? Yep. All right. So just getting a sense of when things are happening is a good start. Mapping your timetable. Some topics may have scheduled face-to-face labs or interactive online sessions. So you guys have got some face-to-face labs. Georgia and Bianca are the coordinators for the human biosciences topic. So you've got some labs that happen at particular times. Yep. And some other topics might have interactive online sessions. So just making sure you're across when those are, making sure you've got them in your timetable. Key dates. Key dates are when things are due. So there might be a group assignment, making sure that you've got some lead up time to that group assignment. Thinking about what are the requirements for each assignment. So every assignment's going to have a particular thing that it's assessing. So it might be different to the assignment you did in the topic before. So just being aware of those differences. One thing I can think about is the topic that Sarah and I teach into. The first and the third assignments allow you to use artificial intelligence tools in a particular way, but the second one doesn't. The second one, because it's a reflection, it doesn't allow you to use artificial intelligence tools. So being aware that there are differences even across the topic, not just the degree, is really important. This is a study hack. This is something I did back when I was studying, and I think that Jane and I still feel like it's a really useful thing to do. Count back at least 2 weeks from a due date to give yourself time to complete assignments effectively and to seek support if necessary. Some people like to just think in their head, what am I going to do for that assignment? How am I going to approach it? Where are the things I don't understand or don't know about? Where can I access them? So sometimes thinking, like giving yourself that 2 weeks doesn't necessarily mean starting it straight away. It might just be thinking about it, thinking about what you need to do for that assignment. Would you add anything to that, Jane?
I'm a little bit more cautious. I would say 2 weeks out, get your head around what the assignment is.
Yep.
And then look at what you need to do in that assignment and map it to the learning activities that you've completed in the weeks leading up to the time that it's due. So that you've got a plan for going, thinking about where have I learned things in this topic, what have I learned, what resources have been introduced to me, which of these are going to be useful for my assignment. And a lot of us will have planners where we ask you to say, what are the resources you're going to use? So doing that early so that you know what information you're confident you have or can find, and you know what's not clear to you really early on, I think is very important.
So seeking support can come in multiple forms. Seeking support can be clarification, like what is this assignment about? I understand this, and this part, but I don't understand that part. Or can you clarify exactly what you mean by references and what we're to use? So seeking support is a big idea. It's not just about seeking support and saying, I need an extension because of these reasons. Seeking support is also about seeking clarification, developing an understanding of exactly what that assignment's asking you for. But as I said, it also can include seeking support if you do need an extension or if you've got a really complex situation happening in your life. Maybe you need support from Mel. So it might be beyond the topic coordinator. It might be with Mel Suckley. We can talk about Mel Suckley in a little bit. Some of you met Mel at the previous session. Mapping your time. This is probably the biggie for me. So when are you going to study? If you've got other responsibilities, maybe you're a parent, maybe you're a carer, maybe you have a job, thinking about when you're going to study, because you will need at least 10 to 12 hours per week for a full-time study load. Think about what days and times of the week will be best for your study. Oh, yes, Jane.
10 to 12 hours a week per topic.
Yes, yep. So you're meant to be doing a full-time load is equivalent to a full-time job, really, a little bit more even. So making sure that you're really disciplined about, I'm going to be doing it on a Wednesday, or I'm going to be doing it Saturday and Wednesday, I'm going to be doing it Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Making sure you've got that kind of stuff set up now will actually support you for the semester. So just getting a sense of when you can study and making time to study. All right. Okay, next slide. Okay, so what do we mean by topic? We talk, us, colleagues, lecturers, academics, we talk very casually about topics. We talk this topic, that topic, but maybe it's not clear what a topic actually is. So at Flinders University, a unit of study is referred to as a topic. Some other universities refer to them as courses.
That's confusing.
Yeah, or subjects, yeah. I pointed to these two colleagues because they were at University of Adelaide until they became part of our crew. So here we call them topics, and a topic is a specific area of study, like a subject. For example, Health 1011, Introduction to Digital Health, that's a topic. And that topic explores the role of digital systems in health and healthcare. So that's its overarching goal, is to explore the role of digital systems in health and healthcare. And in that topic, students are introduced to a range of topics on the use of digital systems in the healthcare system and the applications of digital platforms in health and healthcare. So topics have learning outcomes, and here we've got the learning outcomes for this topic. And these are available in the handbook, and also you can easily access them. Every flow site has a menu on the left, and we'll look at this, in which it has handbook, and in the handbook you can look at the learning outcomes. So every topic has learning outcomes, and every topic's assessments will reflect the intentions of those learning outcomes. So there'll be a link between the assessments and the learning outcomes. Most topics have about 6, I reckon. 4 to 6, thank you, Jane. Every topic has a coordinator who supports and leads the topic, and we've got lots of topic coordinators here who will introduce themselves. Online versions of topics. So some of you might do all of your learning on campus, you might do some of your learning online and most of it on campus. Online versions of topics have a mixture of lectures, readings, short videos, short texts and activities to support your learning. So topics are made up of different kinds of curricula. And these activities support you to develop and apply knowledge and understanding of the topic's content. So that's what we mean by a topic. But really, you understand what a topic is by doing it. But this is just giving you a sense of what we mean when we talk about topic. Anything to add, Jane? Good. Any questions, scholars? It's okay if you don't have questions. I'm sure you will. Okay, what can you expect from a topic? So every topic has a Flow or Canvas site, which is the Learning Management System, or LMS. Every site is consistent, fairly consistent in how it looks, and this helps us to feel a sense of belonging and self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is the belief that we are able to do something well. Every topic has its own, I've already said that, and this is where the learning content can be accessed. So when somebody says, have you looked at the reading, have you looked at the lecture, have you looked at that activity, they are talking about something that's on Flow or Canvas, the learning management system. Everything that you need is on there. It is the one-stop shop. apart from tutorials and labs. The terms flow and canvas are often used interchangeably, but in the context of Flinders University, they mean the same thing. Another study hack. Look at the topics flow or canvas site to get a feel for the topic's architecture, so how it is presented, how it flows. Learn about topic expectations and how to access the topic's content and assessments. So just do a little bit of an explore. Just go in and have a look around. Like, it doesn't matter how much time you spend in there. Have a healthy relationship with the site, but just have a look around just to find where you are. As I said, most of the topics look similar or consistent, but there are differences across each topic. On-campus and online topics have the same learning outcomes, but the assessments may be different just because the settings are different. A topic's assessments include comprehensive instructions and prescribe how artificial intelligence tools can be used. And as I said, each topic's use of artificial intelligence tools is different and can be different from assignment to assignment. Any questions? No? That's okay. This is like me kind of downloading all of that really important information. You're not expected to remember it, by the way, so you can always ask questions across your time here. All right, now we get to meet everybody, which is nicer than just listening to one person. I think this is our topics, isn't it, Jane? Is there something not right?
There are other option topics, not taught by us, but I think we've only got one on this table in trade physio. Is anybody doing any other option topics in semester 2 that aren't up there? Introduction to OT? Yeah, I'm doing introduction to OT. Okay, I can talk
Yep.
about those briefly.
Excellent, thank you, Jane. So first of all, before we get to the other parts that haven't been listed here, I'd like to invite up Georgia and Bianca. They are the TCs for Human Biosciences, also referred to as 1004, for on campus here at Bedford Park. This is their first time TCing here, but it's not their first time TCing because you did that before. Would you like to stand up? And I'll give you the cabaret mic. Yep.
My karaoke.
Your karaoke mic.
Well, hello everyone. It's lovely to see you all here today. So my name is Georgia Clark and this is Bianca, and we are your TCs for Human Biosciences this semester. And we're so excited to have you guys with us. So essentially Human Biosciences will take you through anatomy and physiology of the human body. So we're going to start at the very beginning at the cellular level, so talking about our different cells and basic physiology, and then we're going to build on that knowledge and bring in our different tissues and our organs and our organ systems, and overall have a good understanding or a good foundation on how the human body actually works.
Yeah, sure. Excellent. Essentially, it will take place in labs. So you have a 3-hour lab. If you're an on-campus student, you'll have a 3-hour lab that's weekly, and every week is a different body system. So yeah, you'll have that 3-hour lab each week, and then every fortnight we'll have a tutorial where we kind of revise the content from the previous 2 weeks. So that's kind of how it works in terms of how we lay out the teaching. And you'll have some assessments throughout the course as well. Don't stress too much about those, but we get to talk about those in class, and there'll be a little bit of group work, a little bit of work individually as well.
So all of our lecture content as well is online, so it's self-paced. So make sure that hopefully you're able to view the lecture content before coming to the classes. It will give you, I guess, a lot more context, but we will revise over some of those key concepts at the start of each lab as well to kind of get you primed, to get you ready for the activities that you'll see on that day. In terms of, I guess, getting ready for semester to begin, we will be releasing a welcome announcement this afternoon and a bit of a welcome video to get you orientated around our flow page. but yeah, just making sure that you, when you go onto Flow, there will be, of course, a topic timetable. So, noting down some of those key dates, maybe print off that document, save it somewhere, put it up on a pin board in your room, something like that, so that you have all those key dates and you know what to expect for each week. What is the lecture content? What are the assignments? And what do you have to look for in the coming weeks? But we will release an announcement today as well as each subsequent week, so you always know what's coming up. So hopefully, you feel super primed and ready to come along with us and learn more about the human body. But yeah, we're super, super keen to see you guys. We will be taking most of the workshops and tutorials, so yeah, you'll see our faces all the time. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
When do I see?
We'll see if people are taking requests at the end. All right, thank you to you both, and good luck this semester. John, would you like to come to the front? John has been here longer than I have been here. And then John has taken the helm in Research and Study Skills 1 last semester, and you're here again this semester, which is fabulous for us, so thanks for being here. Could you tell us about Research and Study Skills 1? Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is John. I'm your topic coordinator for Health 1010 Research and Study Skills. Don't know if you guys are enrolled on campus or online, but the topic is broken up into the on-campus and online versions. They are slightly different in terms of the assessments. So make sure if you are enrolled on campus, you familiarize yourself with what the topic is assessing you on, and if you are enrolled online, make sure you look through the assessments to make sure that you're across of what's being assessed. But I'll be teaching myself at the city campus. We have a couple of tutors looking after the Bedford Park or the Sturt campus students, and then another tutor looking after the online students as well. But Health 1010 itself is a great topic for first year students. We spend a lot of time exploring how to survive university as a first year student. Understanding most of you guys come from different backgrounds. Some people are coming off a gap year, some people are coming straight from high school. Some people are changing degrees. So there's a variety of experience in how people engage with university varies quite a lot. So we'll go through lots of different skills to make sure you guys understand how to be successful at university, how to overcome some struggles, and all the difficulties that we face as students as well, because we all went through it ourselves. So we spend a lot of time with study skills, but we also spend a lot of time exploring how to read evidence and how to use that to influence and make sure that your writing has some sort of justification around where it comes from, which is a really important part for your time as a student, but also your professional practice when it comes to dealing with clients and other co-workers.
Excellent.
But yeah, that's me.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Actually, that segues to what we were talking about here, about evidence-based practice. And so even if you don't go on to be a full-time nerd/academic and continue with research, research should always be at the core of your practice as a practitioner, whatever that is. Whether you're in clinic, whether you're a health administrator. Thank you, John. I didn't get you guys to tell us about who you are, but we can do that maybe, as in what's our interest and where do we come from. We might do that later at our tables. Okay, next is Beck Feo. Beck, would you like to come up? Beck is also the honours coordinator. Yes. So if you are thinking, I'd really like to stay on and study forever, you could talk to Beck about... You could talk to Beck about that as well. But in this particular setting, Beck's going to talk to us about interpersonal and interprofessional communication. Thanks, Beck.
Which is what my research is about, though.
Aha,
Okay,
there you go.
Yes, so my name's Rebecca. I will be the coordinator for the on-campus version of interpersonal and interprofessional communication. So much like research and study skills, we do have the two separate sort of offerings and the two separate flow sites as well. So the wonderful Phoebe Wu will be coordinating the online asynchronous version. this semester. Unfortunately, I won't be teaching into it, so taking any of the workshops. My workload just doesn't allow in semester 2, but you'll still be hearing from me through announcements, and I'm still the person to come to as well if you have got specific queries around the topic more broadly and those sorts of things. So what we do in this topic is learn how to be effective communicators. So how to communicate effectively with our patients or clients, if that's where your sort of work life is going to take you, but also how to communicate effectively with your colleagues. So no matter where you end up in life, no matter what you do for work, you will need to know how to communicate effectively with colleagues. So we cover things like active listening, verbal and non-verbal, what does it look like, how do you do it, through to cultural safety and inclusive communication, what it means to be a reflective practitioner, so to become self-aware of your own communication techniques. I actually learn a lot about myself when I teach this topic and my communication techniques, and I often share those anecdotes with my workshop as well. And we'll also cover group dynamics and conflict management as well. For those who will be, in person as well, I very much encourage you to attend the workshops. We do have an in-person assessment which takes place over weeks 11 and 12. That's a group assessment as well. So being there, coming along, actually helps you to get to know who's going to be in your group and work together effectively in that process as well. As I mentioned, my research is actually around healthcare communication, because I truly believe that communication interaction is one of the key ways in which health and social care is actually achieved. So it's just as important as your clinical skills. And I think sometimes we think it's easy to do. Like, I know how to communicate, I know how to have a conversation. And it's when you actually start practicing it, you realise being an effective communicator is very different to just knowing how to have a conversation with someone. So you'll get lots of opportunities to practice that throughout the semester as well. So very much looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks, Beck. I think sometimes the things that are very effective, like effective communication, become unseen. So we don't realise how difficult they can be until you're actually doing it yourself. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, why is no one noticing that massive ball of hair in the corner of the room like I am? All right. Jane has many hats. So Jane is the course coordinator and our sage. I don't know if you like being called our sage. No. Jane has been extremely important to my health and well-being here as a colleague. So that's something else that you learn through being in a workspace, is the role that you play in supporting each other to be the best colleagues that you can be, and Jane does that for me on a regular basis. But Jane's hat right now is talking about a really important topic, understanding health, illness and health and social care in Australia. We sometimes just refer to it as 1306 here. Yeah, because some of our titles are very long.
And you know what, if I knew the administrative load that it was going to cause having that name, I never would have allowed it to be called that name. So good morning and welcome, and I've met some of you, and some of you we can catch up later on. So this topic introduces a range of ideas, and there are three main themes. It's the best way for me to describe it. One is looking at models of health. There are a range of ways of thinking about health. We often think about health as being about what's happening in the body. Really important. Can't understand health properly without it. But it's not enough. And so this topic asks you to start thinking about health outside of the body. And the first theme is looking at those different models, the different ways of thinking about health, and exploring one of them in particular, which leads us to looking at what we call social determinants of health. So how does the world we live in affect our health? How does it affect our health directly by impacting directly on our bodies, and how does it affect our behaviours that might affect our health? The second theme then is looking at the healthcare system. As future professionals working anywhere in health or health and social care, understanding the system that you work in is really important for a bunch of reasons. in this topic, our main focus is on thinking about how your understanding of the health system can help you to better support people that you're working with and to advocate for them to have their healthcare needs met. And then the third theme is thinking about what it means as you move through your studies to shift from having primarily been a provider of healthcare to being, a user of healthcare, to being both a provider and a user of healthcare. They're two hats. In an ideal world, we wear one of those at a time. In the real world, we wear them both at the same time. And that can create some opportunities for you, but it can also create some challenges. And so we'll look at some of those as well. Tracy Ann asked me to talk to the university value of integrity and how it's reflected in this topic. And you'll have to excuse me because I did make a note. And there's a number of elements to the university value of integrity. The one that is particularly relevant in this topic is to embrace diversity and promote equity, inclusion and social responsibility. This is a big theme in the health sciences program. Because we look at health in addition to inside the body, from outside of the body, a lot of the things that affect our health relate to those issues, to inclusion, to diversity, and to social responsibility. So we start asking questions about what those things mean as somebody working in the healthcare field. And you'll expand on those as you move through your studies in our topics.
Thank you, Jane. I actually want to do that topic. I don't think my job allows it, but I would like to do Jane's topic. And now I'd like to ask up my dear colleague, Sarah. Sarah is the topic coordinator for strengths-based approaches to health working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Sarah and I teach together in this topic. Handing it over to you, but I'm going to loiter here in case.
Yes, I'm the main topic coordinator for the face-to-face on-campus version where Tracy takes the lead on the asynchronous online model, but we do share the load a little bit, so you'll probably hear a little bit from both of us, especially if one of us is off doing other things. It's nice to have a sort of a shared role. And Tracy was the topic coordinator for both for a couple of years. So yes, it's great to have the support. My name, as Tracy says, is Sarah. I'm a Ngarrindjeri woman, so I'm an Aboriginal woman myself, and my mob is from the southeast of Adelaide, by the Coorong there, so the sort of the south end of the Coorong. Strength-based approaches to health, or 10-12, or strength-based approaches to health working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, if you'd like to say the whole name, is really about unpacking. It actually ties in really well with Jane's topic. It really unpacks in the first few weeks your understanding of what respectful language and terminology is, and how that can impact people's health and wellbeing outcomes, where your original understandings of that have come from, but also where your original understandings of your knowledge come from. Your understanding of health, where does that come from? I actually, I'm doing my PhD at the moment, and I got to do a topic last week, and we were learning about our standpoint. And as people who have our own lived experiences, we can look at something and we are looking at it from where we stand. So we understand it 100% from the direction we're looking at it, but someone could be standing over there and looking at it and have a completely different perspective. So we really try to help you understand that and what other perspectives other people could be seeing that you might not have ever even thought to see before, because it's on the other side of what you're looking at. Once you sort of get a bit of understanding of yourself, we then turn that onto the healthcare systems. So who are the healthcare systems designed for, and how could someone be who's standing on the other side to you, how could they be experiencing that differently to the way you understand it and you experience it? And then how can that affect people's health and well-being? Naturally, with the topic that we're talking about, we're focusing particularly on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, but the learnings you're going to get from that are going to be applicable to a wide range of different peoples. And then that leads us to the end of the topic where we introduce the concept of cultural safety. And even though we're talking about that right at the very end of the topic, you've been learning about that the entire way. We sort of just put a name to it. We introduce you to some frameworks and some things that you can do to help yourself be a culturally responsive practitioner and what that actually means, and how you can contribute to culturally safe practice and what that actually means.
Yay.
Yay.
We're also a bit in love with the topic. It's team taught, so there's always at least 2, if not 3 tutors in the room at all times, and that's really good because, as Sarah was saying, myself as a non-Aboriginal woman, I have a very different experience of Australia, of the Australian context, and also of health systems. And so hearing different perspectives supports us to see that there are the singular way of thinking about something is deeply problematic, but also we can only know from our position what does that mean for us as health professionals who will have lots of power in relation to the health system, health institutions and so forth. There are some weeks in this topic I really nerd out because we think a lot about Australia's context, and that means thinking about its history, its contemporary contexts, and also what that means for the future. So yeah, Sarah and I really love teaching this topic. Thank you, Sarah. I look forward to teaching with you. Hannah's not here. Hannah is the topic coordinator for Introduction to Digital Health. Jane, are you okay to have a bit of a, while you're up here talking about it, could you also just give us a little bit of a sense of the ages topics as well, if that's okay?
Yes, thank you. So is anybody enrolled in Introduction to Digital Health? I can recommend it if you're struggling to find an option topic to do. It is only offered in semester 2. Digital technologies are just everywhere. And healthcare is no exception. We have a digital health specialisation in the BHS, and we also, I believe, have a digital health minor as well. This topic sort of does a Cook's tour of digital health. So it introduces you to things that you will already have a sense of, like patient records in health services. Why do we collect them? What's the key information? Who should have access to those? What sort of safeguards should be in place? How can that information be used? Then moving on to things like understanding how health information is stored and managed. What kind of technologies can we use in healthcare? So learning about telehealth. Most of you will probably have had the opportunity, particularly post-COVID, to have a telehealth consultation, or at least know somebody who has. What does that involve? What does that entail? When is it appropriate to use that? What are the advantages? What are its limitations? And then other kinds of technology, things like wearable technologies that some of you will be familiar with. The obvious things are things like digital watches that collect data, biometric data, but there are a whole bunch of technologies that we use on bodies, but there are a whole bunch of technologies that we use with bodies to enable people to achieve the levels of functioning that they want to in life. So we also look at some of those assistive technologies as well. And that provides an introduction to the field of digital health, and then the other digital health topics that we have expand on each of those areas in some detail. So you can get a bit of an introduction in the first topic, or you can go on and learn more about different areas of digital health later on. We also have students who are enrolled in Intro to Physio, so that's a particularly useful topic if you are interested in learning more about what it means to be a physiotherapist. It's a good place to cement your thinking about whether that's something that you want to pursue. And also the same with OT. One of you is in the OT topic? Yep, so the same with the OT topic. You want to do it? Okay, we can talk about your enrolment. So one thing I will say while I've got your attention is this is a great time for us to talk about your enrolment and your study plan and what your goals are, and making sure that you're in the best possible topics to set you up for what you want to achieve. Recognising, as we do, that you might not necessarily be planning on staying in health sciences long term, but hoping that if it suits you, that you do consider us as a plan B if we're not your plan A. So if you do need to talk about enrolments or topics, we can do that before you go today. And you will have seen a list of other option topics that are available. And there is some latitude if there's something that you desperately want to study in first year that's not on the option list, for us to talk about whether that will be possible as well.
I think we've got that on one of the slides.
Okay.
Do you want me to go to that?
No, don't change the order. Just when we get there, we'll get
Yeah,
there.
okay, cool. Actually,
Am I handing this back to you now?
yeah, you can, and I would like that. Thank you, Jane. Actually, what I think we're going to do is have a little icebreaker, because we were going to talk a little bit more, but I was getting a little bit bored of my own voice. And I thought, let's have a break from Tracy. Let's do something fun. And we do have something fun, which is, we'll come back to this, people bingo. Who is familiar with bingo as a game? Yeah, okay, cool. It's wildly crazy big here in Australia. I know some people are highly competitive about bingo. I'm not one of them, but it is super fun. And what we've got with this bingo is it's actually a chance for you to introduce yourself to other people by having to go around and find someone who you can put in one of these squares. What's important about our bingo is that you can't put the same person twice, right? You've got to go around and find who is obsessed with the new Olivia Rodrigo album. Anyone here obsessed with the new Olivia Rodrigo album? Okay. I shouldn't listen to my daughter for ideas for a bingo sheet. She's a very cool young woman making excellent music, and you should get into her, because I did, and it's been a really great thing. All right, I'd ask if we now...
I'm not obsessed, but I do like it.
Well, you could...
At least you've heard of it.
What I'm going to do is get you guys to take a bingo sheet, and then I'm going to come around with some texters in my elephant pencil case that I inherited from my son, who's now 18 and doesn't need it anymore. But you'll probably have to get up and walk around and find people who fill the criteria. But let me give you a pen. All right. Thanks, everyone, for being part of that. So Yusuf, Mahmood, Eugene and Randy all got lines. Cool. Did you get one as well? You can get a highlighter. You know where my room is. I just don't have any at the moment. All right. We might go back to the things that we didn't get to before just really quickly. I'm just going to show us what a flow site looks like. Sarah, I'm going to look at your site.
Oh, look at that.
I think Sarah's gone to town with Canva. I just wanted to say, you'll do this 1,000,000 times a day, log in, through the multifactorial logging in. You have to forgive us for asking you to do that. And there'll be points when it becomes incredibly frustrating. Just know we're all doing it across the day. So you have to put in your fan. I've had this for a very long time because I studied here as well. And then you put in your password. And then you verify, and then you either enter a code or you get a push notification. I think I probably do this in my sleep now. I do it so much.
If you, just a little tip if you don't know, that you can download, if you have like Google Chrome, you can download an extension that sends the push notification to your desktop. Then you don't have to have your phone with you. So if you don't have your phone handy, it'll come up with a little notification that comes up on the top right and it says like approve, and you can do it that way. Highly recommend. Oh yeah.
So this is what it looks like when you are a student, which is most of us. Done. So Sarah's made an announcement already, and I think, Sarah, have you got three most recent announcements sitting at the top normally? I think, yeah. So as the semester goes on and we make more announcements, they'll just sit at the top here under recent announcements. Sometimes that can be a really good place to go when you think, I've got this question. Sarah might have already answered it in the announcement, and it will be relevant to the week or to that week before or to the last couple of weeks. So we just kind of hold them there. The announcements also get sent to your university email. So you might feel like, I think I've already seen this, and it might have been that you read it in your email. And so Sarah has got these 4 tabs: roadmap, modules, assignments, and readings. And the modules are where we have the content for the topic. So you'll see that we've got the semester roadmap, the teaching team, assessment overview, the topic guide, and then we've got an orientation for this week. So this is just about familiarising yourself. This is specific to 10-12, but all the other topics that are represented here today will look somewhat similar. And then we go down to, this is a nifty thing for when you feel like there's so many things open, you can just close them. And so week 1 for this topic has the focus, so it's about what are we doing in this week, and it's a kind of overview to locate yourself in relation to the topic overall. It tells you how this week's content relates to the learning outcomes. So that's just a kind of anchor to the week. And I think most topics have this. And then you'll see that for week 1, there are, for our topic, we have lots of key concepts that we introduce you to in the first week. So instead of there being one large lecture, we introduce you to key concepts through videos, through activities, and through short lectures. And so these are really key concepts to the topic for strengths-based approaches to health working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. So this is how it looks when you're in the learning management system. Yes, you can, Jane. Yep. Yeah.
So in health sciences, in particular, every week or every module of work will be broken up into those 4 headings. So an introduction, and you see where there's little page icon, that means it's content. If there's no icon next to it, it's just a heading to break up the pages. Then the learning content, so any recordings that you need to watch, sometimes you need to watch online videos. Almost always you'll need to do some reading.
Yep.
We'll ask you to do some thinking as well. Then we'll ask you to come to class, so apply your learning. So when you come to class, to the tutorial, the expectation is that you look at the material, you might have questions about it, and that's one of the things that we do in tutorials. But we also then start saying, well, what does that mean? Why are we teaching you this? How is it going to be useful to you? Primarily as somebody who might work in the health system in the future, but also we're thinking about you as a citizen as well, as a person functioning in society. And then the review. So there might be, will often be a short quiz for you to take, just to reassure yourself that you're across the key concepts for the module or for the week, and then maybe some linking to assignments, so reminding you about which assignment this content leads to. Remember I suggested that one of the things that you might do in those 2 weeks out is sort of make sure that you know where the content that you've learned in the week relates to different parts of the assignment. This is a great place to do that from the very beginning. And then in this case there's a little quiz that you can do to let
Thank you. Do you want to hold on? Because you might add some stuff.
It would have helped if I'd turned it on, wouldn't it?
My mic might have picked you up, I think, Jane. So that's just looking at 10-12, strengths-based approaches to health. Just closing some of the things. I probably had all of these open. That's a bad behaviour of mine. As Jane was saying, readings. So most weeks have readings. Whoop. Oh, why can't we load while it's in student preview? What's happening there? View list as student in the student list. That's not right. Let me leave student view for a minute and go into Tracy view, and then we can work out what's happening there. So as you can see, every week in our topic has readings, and if not readings, there might be a podcast. I think that's just for one of the weeks. But when you come into 10-12, we expect you to have had a look at these readings for week 1. And as Jane said, we're really conscious about the relationship between the readings and the learning and the assessments. So these 3 readings in week 1 just for 10-12 relate directly to the first assignment, but they also relate to all of the assignments across the topics. And you can access them here. Yep. So they're all in that one spot on the left-hand side where it says readings. But the module that we were in also just says, readings are in the left-hand panel. So as I said before, just wandering around the architecture of the topic enables you to get a sense of what this topic has in it, and also what's expected for you to participate in and be prepared for when you attend tutorials as well. And as I said, and I'm not just speaking on behalf of 10-12, but I kind of am as well, everything that we get you to do is related to assessments. So everything may not always explicitly look like it is, it may implicitly be, but it's all related to the learning outcomes, and the learning outcomes are assessed through the assessments. Anything else we want to look at while we're in here? In 10-12 flow, yeah.
Would it be okay if you just briefly showed students where to find information about assignments and the discussion boards and the extension requests?
Yep. So extension requests, this is what it looks like from Tracy's end. So I need to go into student. I'll go home, go back into student mode, because it looks different for me to what it does as a student. Oh, I'm forbidden.
So the key take home is you can apply for extensions for assignments. It is possible to apply for an extension of up to 3 days without any documentation. For more than 3 days, you need documentation. And if you have an access plan, and you're applying for an extension because you have an access plan, make sure you upload the access plan. If something happens and you don't have documentation and what has happened fits the definition of extenuating circumstances, unforeseen and out of your control, don't just go, oh, I haven't got any documentation, too bad. Contact your TC and explain your circumstances. Most TCs will be willing to have a conversation with you about what's reasonable for your circumstances. Okay, and don't wait if things are not going well until the end of the semester to have a chat. Get in touch early. The sooner the better. The sooner we hear from you, the more likely it is we're going to be able to do something to help get you through the whatever the issue is, and stay successful in your topics.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
When it comes to access plans, is that something that is already disclosed to the TCs?
Okay.
Or is that something that we need to kind of mention?
So for people who are watching the recording, the question was about access plans and whether they're already disclosed to TCs or whether it's something students need to do. Absolutely 100% in students' court. entirely up to you whether, if ever, you show an access plan. You might get through the whole topic and decide that you don't need to use it at all. Some students, a lot of students will send them to the TC early in the semester, and TCs will look at them and get back to you usually and say, thanks for sending it to me. For the topic that I coordinate, it's almost always the case that it's really straightforward to accommodate the access plan. If there's any parts of the access plan that the TC, because of the learning outcomes in the topic, thinks we'll need to have a chat about this and make sure it's going to work, they'll get back to you and chat about it. Some students do that, send it up front. Some students just attach it when they apply for an extension. Okay, and that's fine as well. Some students hold on to it, never need to use it for extension, never decide to implement any other part in that topic, and never show it to anybody in that topic. So you might do it differently for different topics depending on what the learning activities are and how that interacts with the reason that you have an access plan.
Excellent question. Thank you for answering that, Jane. So in 1012, we have discussions just for the assignments. You can ask general questions, but primarily we have it for asking questions about the assignments. And you can see here that we've got them for the 3 different assignments in this topic. I think they're really good places to learn stuff. So sometimes you don't need to end up asking a question because it's already been answered in the discussion board. Scholar. Yep.
With the assignments, there's no due dates at all, or there's no information for Sarah's topic.
Yep. So at the moment we have not got those published. And I think Sarah's got a page for that. Let me go home here. That's okay. You're doing the right thing and asking the right questions. Sarah and I have got a page up, but Sarah might have it in a different place to where it is for me. We've just taken our assessments offline because we're reviewing the first one. So we've just got this thing here. Excellent question, Scholar. And I might suggest to Sarah that she put it in the assignment module as well. So we've got here just for this week information that you want to have so that you can put it in your diaries of when things are due, and the first assignment will be published later this week for Monday of next week. We had this really short period where we wanted to take it offline and review the rubric and the instructions because we didn't think it was working as well last semester and we wanted to tighten it up. And then the other things will come online shortly as well. Another thing is for first year topics, we're working in a place called Cadmus, and you'll learn a bit more about Cadmus in each of the topics. Cadmus is a portal that's part of our learning management system, and it's meant to support you to act with integrity when you're writing your assignment. It also enables us to look to see how you've put together your assignment. It does have, some things that we're still working out how to work with, but the tutors and the TC will support you with Cadmus, and we don't want you to be concerned about that. But as Jane said, if you have any concerns about anything, just ask us. I might just leave that there for going into the topic site, if that's okay, Jane, because we've got a few more things we want to get on with. But this is just how it feels to be in a particular topic, and they're all similar but not the same. All right. So this is what we were talking about, Jane, with the option topics. Does that look like the right list of option topics? Yep. Excellent. If anyone wants to, I'm going to suggest that they speak to Jane afterwards, if that's okay. If there are questions that you have, if you want to know a little bit more about some of the topics, the health promotion for health professionals topics only offered in semester 1, so it will be offered again next year. But Jane knows a lot about why we have these option topics as part of the degree. So if you have any questions after this session, ask Jane. Is that okay, Jane?
Absolutely perfect.
Okay. You might want to wear the mic when you're answering them for the recording if it's still going or not. It's up to you. You don't have to. They might be too private.
They're lovely. They're likely to be individual circumstance
Yeah,
questions.
so we might not have that on the... We've already done this very cool thing, so I'm going to go past that. Just a little bit more about the things that we're talking about when we're talking about topics and learning activities. So a standard topic, we know what a topic is now, at Flinders is designed on the understanding that you'll complete 135 hours for each topic. These hours include activities as part of tutorials, labs and workshops. Take notes in these. These are like, having notes is like having gold, because you'll be like, what did we talk about that week? That week was so long ago. Oh, my notes, they're full of the gold that I need to remember what we did then. And now I can see how it links to where we are now. So taking notes in whatever form that is really important. You might, like me, write things down on paper. You might have an iPad. You might have a laptop, whatever you use. Most of your learning will involve independent study, and you'll need to commit an average of 10 hours per week. We talked about that. It's really important to make time to make this happen. And doing it later in the semester probably isn't going to work as well as starting now. In fact, it won't work as well. So independent study, that includes watching lectures and taking notes and making summaries of what you've been listening to and hearing based on the content in the lectures. The independent study also includes the readings and other content such as podcasts, and it also includes preparing for assessments. So this is, as we said, where all of your note-taking will become invaluable. I'm somebody who still prints off readings and writes in the margins. Who else here does that? Old school. But some of us may annotate on a laptop or an iPad. Yeah, so that's cool too. I just have different neural pathways because I'm 49. I really feel like when I annotate an article, it starts to become part of my thinking. So I think it's really valuable to make notes as you're reading. It also reminds you why this is important to your learning. So it's really, it's magic.
So say that the evidence says, or suggests at least, that on average we remember better things that we write by hand than that we type into a device.
So there's something that happens for us in our bodies. This is called embodiment. Something that happens for us when we do things in particular ways. And as Jane said, writing with a pen, pencil appears to have different effects than typing. So it's really interesting. Actually, some of our neuro people might be really into that. All right, success. Keys to success in your studies. So success looks different for everyone. Success might be not being scared about studying. That's a huge success when you feel less scared, right? It's not just about getting high grades. It can be about feeling a sense of self-efficacy, feeling confident, feeling competent. So you need to deliberately schedule time. I know I've said this a million times. I'm going to keep saying it. For your studies, be proactive. So that does, instead of doing something in response to something, do it before it's happening. Be proactive. Keeping up is better than catching up. We know that from the research. Seek out support and services. We've talked about what that might look like. Have a plan for your study. Do you have a study routine? Put your hands up if you've already got a sense of a study routine. A little bit. They're really good things to have. Do you have a study routine? I asked that question. Work out how you study best. Some people like a body double. Do you know what that is? Yes, Randy knows. It's where you have someone sitting next to you while you study as a kind of like a support person. And that just keeps you anchored to what you're doing. It's really powerful. Do you study on the couch with a pet beside you? I don't even intend to do that. It just happens. I'm there on the couch and the dog is there, like going, great, you're sitting down for a couple of hours. This is really good. Yeah, exactly. Totally. Or in the library. I know my son, I have 2 children. Actually, both my children really love studying in the library here at Flinders. They love, it's really disciplined. You can book a little room or you can just come in and use one of the desks, and they really love that. Also, work out what doesn't work for you. So for some people, long stretches of study is not good. Having the TV on in the background is not good. For some people, it's great. Work out what fuels your study. So having like a little bag of sugary snacks, having a thermos of tea, short dance breaks, that's me. I have to get the blood going again by listening to Olivia Rodrigo. Studying with peers. My children love doing that. I'm like, how does that work? Surely that doesn't work, being like a cynical mum. And they're like, actually, it's really powerful. Listening to listening to EDM, electronic dance music, really loudly. For some people, that's really powerful. For not everyone, though. Working out what works best for you is incredibly important because not everyone's the same. Keys to success also involve thinking about what we mean by independent learning. So this is about self-advocating when necessary. Jane's talked about that. Working with your peers, reflecting on what strategies are working for your study and supporting your progress. And these might be different across topics. So what works in one topic may not be exactly the same for what works in another topic. If there's a topic that you really don't love, the strategies for that might be different to a topic that you absolutely love. So different strategies for different topics. And there's some literature around that. This is my favourite. This is very important. Do not wait for the motivation fairy because it doesn't exist. Scholars nodding. So the motivation theory is this idea of I'll do that when I feel like want to do it. That doesn't happen. Action, so doing something before you're ready to do it, actually precedes motivation. So starting to do something because you've made the time to do it, it's that time of day, actually produces further motivation. And this becomes a cycle of action. So feelings of motivation come after the action of starting. You have to start before you feel ready. Then you'll feel more motivated and then you'll take more action. Again, literature is supporting this. I'm not just saying this to you as a academic, teacher, parent, middle-aged woman. I'm saying it because the literature says it, Jane.
It's not just a vibe.
It's not just a vibe, exactly. People have studied this. So we've also got a scholar who's like nodding fervently. There is no such thing as a motivation fairy. Yeah. Does that experience being like, I've just got to get this done, get it done, go. And then when great. Okay. I love that. We love to hear that. Yeah. So sometimes it's about what this scholar just said. I've got a window here. I'm going to make the most of this window and get some work done. Even when you do not feel like it. In fact, that might be the best time to start. There's some really interesting new research that's just come out this year that looks at belonging and small actions and its relationship to a sense of success, a sense of accomplishment as a student. So in higher education, belonging is commonly described as students, I call you scholars, subjective feelings of relatedness or connectedness. A sense of university belonging is linked to students' positive self-perceptions of social acceptance, motivation, academic success, and well-being. Some participants described belonging in affective terms of enjoying being around people and having a nice group of friends, being on the same wavelength, or having similar interests and common goals. So we've got two scholars here who both want to have the same goal. They both want to become paediatric occupational therapists. And being accepted and respected. Of course, that's really important to belonging. Participants felt that they belonged among their peers through mutual engagement in classes. So that's turning up, being here together like we are today. Discussions and sharing ideas, mutual support by sharing experiences and helping each other to learn, working out together how to tackle a task, learning from each other about the world and themselves, and a general sense of unity, community, and camaraderie. So that could be like what happened when you tried to apply for an extension. And a friend might say, oh, I had to do blah, blah, and blah. So that's about also working out how to do something. Jane, you picked up the mic. Were you going to add something? Okay. Connections made by first-year students, generally small daily acts, so not big gestures, small daily acts, highlights how these are woven into multiple ways to make meaning about belonging. The authors of this article propose that these small acts of connection enabled by kindness, care, openness and shared interests allowed students to create their senses of belonging without seeing it as completely located within either the individual or the institution. So this is how we can do this together. And I feel like this is a really powerful article for that reason. Jane, what were you going to say?
The reason we're talking about belonging is because it's one of the things that is really highly correlated with student success at university. One thing that I will really strongly recommend that you do is talk to people, talk to other students. It's really scary because you don't know who they are, you don't know how they're going to respond. Most other students, just like you, want connection with students. And I have a daughter. She's older than most of you now. She's 24 and she's finished uni a couple of years ago. But every time she goes somewhere new, not so much now, but all through her childhood and every year when she was at university, she said to me, I'm not going to know anybody, it's going to be horrible, I'm not going to have any friends. And I needed to remind her, and she now swears by the philosophy that everybody else wants to make friends, everybody else is as scared as you are. And if you say hello to somebody and show a willingness to make a connection, they will be forever grateful to you for making the effort. So just remember that when you're deciding whether or not to be brave, be brave.
Well, I think that gesture comes in, the space of openness. So, And I talked about leaps of faith when we were in the last space. Oh, sorry, Jane, you go.
And if they're not nice back, bugger them and just move on.
Is that the same advice you gave Zoe? I felt like it was. All right. Belonging and small actions. I think this is really great research. This is a little bit more about how to feel a sense of belonging. So finding ways to interact and be in relation to your peers, because camaraderie comes through shared experiences. Read the announcements on the topic. That builds a sense of self-efficacy. Participate in topic discussion boards or on Canvas or Flow. Participate in discussions here. In your tutorials, listening is a form of participation as well as speaking. So it's not always just about speaking, it's also about the listening part as well. And Beck's topic will talk more about the powerfulness of listening too. So you can use discussions as a way of deepening your understanding of the topic, assignment expectations, and to hear what your peers are thinking or wondering about the topic content, because it's probably similar to what you're thinking. There will be topic communication guidelines, and I can go back and look at that in 1012 just to show you on how to contact the teaching team. So there'll be really specific ways to contact the teaching team. Focus on the place, meaning and relevancy of topic content to your current and future goals. So some of us will be doing topics that we absolutely love and want to do more of, and then there'll be times when we don't really love it, but we can see its role in our learning, and kind of focusing on the bigger goals can be really powerful when we're going through the harder topics. If there are drop-in sessions or module in review sessions, try and attend them and connect with peers and tutors. But really for you guys, if you're studying on campus, it will be tutorials that will be really important. Practice your professional and interpersonal communication skills and see these reflected back at you by your peers and by the teaching team. Join a club or study group. So my daughter's doing law and arts here at Flinders, and she joined the French club and she loved it. So you don't even have to join a club that's particularly relevant to what you're doing. It can be something like film club or I don't know other club, but like there's lots and lots and lots of different clubs, and it's another way to meet people. And so she's friends with this specific group of French club people that aren't connected to any other part of her degree, and it's been really good for her. So clubs are great. Clubs are really important. There's sporting clubs, thank you, Scholar, because I'm not sporty. You are sporty? Yeah, there's heaps of sporting clubs. There's all kinds of clubs, and you can start a club. Did I say that? Or start one. You should, if you want to. You could have Future Pediatric Occupational Therapist Club, for instance. Whoop. So you can start a club, join a club, build on a club. And they really do help a sense of belonging. There's an excellent Instagram account for those who are on Insta, the Facebook as well. And you can just see what the university is doing widely. This might be the last thing that I chat about, actually. Do you want to talk about... This is actually your thing, Jane. Can you talk about course representation, please?
So putting on definitely my course coordinator hat, but also we have topic representatives as well. So you can be a representative at course level, so at health sciences level, or at topic level, so each one of those topics that we talked about. It's really important for us to hear from students. We can guess at what might matter to you and what might be a good decision, but it's much better for us to actually hear from you directly. Seb, for those of you who were in the earlier session, talked about being a course rep. There's lots of different ways that you can interact and operate as a course rep. We will meet with you ideally 4 times a year, twice each semester as a teaching leadership team. But we also want to hear from you when you're hearing from students about things that shouldn't wait until we have our regular meetings. We've had reps in the past who have set up an online, always open survey that students can post things to anonymously that they can then bring to the team. When you're a student rep and other students know that you're a rep, they'll come and talk to you about things, contact you and come and talk to you about things. And we will advertise who you are on the health sciences flow site, and also there's a space there where students and student reps can communicate with each other. FUSA provide you with some training about being a student rep, so formally what the university thinks that role is and what its intentions are for that role, but also skills, so how you can operate as a student rep, and FUSA provide a lot of support for student reps. Can I just give a big shout out for FUSA? FUSA is a student association. You have already paid for their services through your student and amenities fee. Student reps is one of the things that they do, but they also provide a lot of support and advocacy for students as well, and they're a great place to go and look if you have a question that's purely being answered from a student perspective. Okay, I can strongly recommend that you have a look, and they're also where you find information about clubs and societies and things as well. So I would really strongly recommend that you think about that. It's great experience. You get to learn more about how this institution works as a student rep. That's great experience for you as a future worker as well. And you will develop skills that will be useful for you as a future worker in the health system as well. So if you're the least bit inclined, I strongly recommend we're the 2 scariest people that you'll talk to in that process, okay?
Yeah, actually, when you were talking, Jane, it reminded me that advocacy, being able to advocate for others and yourself, and being able to advocate for the organisation or the institution that you're part of, is a really key skill as a graduate. And this role teaches you what that looks like, how you are in relation to power. So I think that's a really excellent skill to have. One thing that I say, and Sarah and I say to students, is you can't necessarily be a effective advocate for clients and colleagues and institutions until you understand what advocacy looks like at the interpersonal level. So it's a really good thing there. All of these other slides, I think we've done that one. We can just put them up on the our health sciences site because they're quite, they're things that we can look at different times. The only thing I really wanted us to very briefly touch on is academic integrity. We already talked about this with Seb, so those of you who were in that session, this is something that's really important for us to flag. It's a cornerstone of the academy, which is where we are right now, that we act with integrity. And so if you want to learn a little bit more about what that means, you can go to the academic integrity site at Flinders University just to get your head around that. But there'll be information for all of the assignments on what that means as well. I think I'm going to, do you want to follow up?
I just want to say something briefly about integrity. We talk about academic integrity early on because we actually want to make sure that we're supporting you and you don't get, you don't find that you're doing something that probably isn't okay by the university's standards. But it's the very beginning of thinking about what it means to be an ethical practitioner. Academic integrity is part of being an ethical student. As future health professionals, one of the reasons that you get to register with the organisation or AHPRA, depending on your profession, and be counted in that profession is because you've made a commitment and shown that you have the skills to be an ethical practitioner. That's why you get the protection of that title. So think about it as not something that's scary, but an opportunity for growth and for thinking about what it means to you to be a person, but also a future health professional as well. Can I just ask for one more favour?
Yeah.
Could you pop up the Flow? And we mentioned the health sciences Flow site.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll be automatically enrolled onto that if you're in a health sciences program, not if you're in Clen Rehab, I'm afraid. But Clen Rehab will probably have something similar for Clen Rehab students. So it's top left-hand corner.
Oh, thanks, Jane.
Yep.
I couldn't see the wood for the trees.
That's all right.
There were so many on my
dash. This is a place where we put stuff that sits at course level for health science students. So you can see that announcements are there. We post all kinds of things. People contact us with training opportunities, job opportunities, all sorts of things. Our career service will post announcements about things. When you come down here, you can see some tiles and the orientation tile. If Tracy clicks on that and scrolls down, you can see some drop downs that have so we'll put all of the slides and the recordings and everything from today in the semester 2 drop down, but there's also some quick links to some key resources that you might find useful to be able to find early on, and there's information about contacting us as well. So contacting me, but also contacting Mel, who you met in the session earlier this morning. So and that's where things like student reps, all sorts of things can be found.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I won't do song, not now. In tutorials maybe. Thanks to my colleagues for being here. Thanks to you guys for being here. We weren't sure how many people were going to turn up. So when I came here and there were so many, I was actually really happy. Thanks for playing bingo. We did have another thing, but we're not going to play that because we've run out of time. If you see us in the corridor, please say hi.